In this video, I'm going to show you how to make honeysuckle sugar flowers. So to make the buds for the honeysuckle, I'm using 24 gauge wires and white flower paste. So starting off by forming a carrot shape and then just dipping the wire into just a tiny little bit of glue and feeding it into the paste, and then rolling it down the wire so it becomes nice and thin at the bottom. So I'm just pinching the end just to give it a little bit more of a pointed shape. Now with the scriber, I'm just making some grooves down the length of the bud all the way round. This will just give a more realistic look to it. And then just shape it by giving it a bit of a bend, just about halfway down. For the centre of the flower, I'm just taking about 5 or 6 pieces of the fine stamen, and what I want to do is arrange them so they're not all exactly level, and you want one piece that's longer than the others and sticks out much longer. And then turning them round, I'm just going to snip the bottoms and then tape it onto one of the 24 wires. And then with a thin rolling pin or a cell stick, just encourage those stamens to curve. Now for the flower, just form like a witch's hat kind of effect with the paste. I'm just checking that it actually fits through the cutter, because you've got to get the cutter over the top of that point. And now just pinch out the bottom as much as you can. Roll the base out nice and thin. If it's too thick, the honeysuckle will be quite heavy on the wire and it won't look particularly nice. Make sure that as you roll it out, that the cutter is, well, the paste is going to be big enough for the cutter. Now place a pointy section of the flower into one of the holes in your foam pad, and then just start thinning out the edges of both sides of it. I'm just using the knife here to separate the little petals. Now, using the Dresden tool, you just want to encourage the sides of the flower to cup up a little and curve up. And then take it out the former and encourage it to cup a little bit more. Now, using the cone tool, just hollow out that centre into the point. Just get it nice and open and pushing back into the little strip section of the flower. Now, with the scriber, just make a groove along that strip section. Now, turn the flower over and just use a thin rolling pin and just encourage those petals to curve upwards. Now, dip the centre of the flower into some glue and then feed down the little point at the back of the flower. Arrange the stamens so that they're pointing in the same direction as the petals. Now just roll the paste down the wire, making sure it's nice and thin at the bottom. That's the flower completed. You just need to leave it to set. So you're going to need quite a few leaves for this. So just use a groove board and roll a piece of paste right across the length of it. Make sure it's nice and thin. Now, with a rose leaf cutter, you just want to press down and plunge to make sure you create the vein. You're going to need the smallest one and the medium one, and several of each size. These leaves need a straight edge, so just cut inside each one with a craft knife. Insert a short piece of 24 gauge green wire into each leaf. Soften the edge of each leaf with the ball tool and just give a little bit of a frill there, not much. Use the Dresden tool just to create a slight crease at the base of each leaf and then pinch together slightly. To colour the leaves, use a dark green for the main colour and then an aubergine. So starting with the dark green, just dust the whole of the leaf, making sure you catch all the edges, and dust the back as well. Brush the aubergine dust into the base of the leaf, so you want to have more colour there, and then just brush up the centre and make sure you get some right at the top of the leaf. For the buds and flowers, I'm using a mix of fuchsia and plum, a bit of plum on its own, and green and yellow. So starting with the fuchsia and just catching the back of the petals. So just catching the very edge as well so you can see it from the top. And then brush it down the base. With the yellow, you just want to brush right into the centre of the flower and just extend it along the back a little bit and just onto the front of the flower a touch. And then brush all the little stamen with the yellow dust. And then right at the base of the flower, just use a tiny bit of spring green mixed with the yellow. Now brush the length of the buds with the plum and fuchsia mix. Then add some more plum right to the tip of the bud, just to deepen the colour there. Add a bit of the green and yellow right to the base. Tape a couple of small leaves onto a 24 gauge wire. I'm using half width tape because I don't want it to get too thick. You will need to bend the wire right at the base of the leaf to get it to sit against the wire properly. Now tape some of the smallest buds together. I'm using 4 here. To make sure there's no wires showing at the base of this, then just pull down each wire individually, just give it a tug and make sure it's nice and snug. I'll now tape this onto the stem that I started earlier. It's roughly about an inch, maybe an inch and a half lower than the first leaves. Now I'm taping in another couple of the smaller leaves just below those buds. I'm now taping another 4 buds together. These buds increase in size as you work your way down the stem. You need the buds to be facing inwards towards each other rather than outwards. I'm adding another bud to this here because it does fill it out better, and when you do it yourself you can add 6, maybe 7 buds if you want to. Just stop when it looks right. I'm now adding one of the flowers into this group of buds. So you can just add 1 flower or 2 or even 3, however you want, but you will find that there's more flowers in the arrangement as you work the stem. I'm now just making up another couple of groups of buds with flowers with whatever I've got remaining. So as I work down this stem now, I'm going to add in another bunch of buds, and then in between each group of buds I will add a couple of leaves. So as I work down, the leaves will get bigger and the buds will get fuller, and then finally I will need to tape in a stronger wire. I will use an 18 gauge, and this will allow it to be more stable, stop it being too bendy. Now just to shape the whole stem, I'm just bending the wire slightly just to give it that little bit of more of a natural feel to it. And you can carry on tweaking the flowers a little, tweaking the buds, making sure everything is how you want it. And that's it, flower completed. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to subscribe so you can see more videos like this.